All right, let's dive right into this incredible collection of relationship psychology you've brought us.
It's fascinating stuff.
It really is. We're talking articles, research notes even, all about building those connections no matter what kind of relationship we're talking about, right?
And what's so interesting is that even though every relationship is unique, there are these universal psychological principles at work. It's like
A hidden language we all speak.
exactly, a hidden language. And we're often not even aware of it.
I love that, a hidden language of connection. And speaking of hidden things, I was really surprised by just how fast we make those snap judgments, those first
It's
impressions.
incredibly fast.
It doesn't feel like we have much time to make a good one.
Studies have shown it takes between just 90 seconds to 4 minutes for someone to form an opinion about us.
Wow, 90 seconds, that's barely enough time to remember their name. So is it really all downhill after that initial hello? Or can we recover from a first impression that wasn't, amazing?
Well, it's not necessarily a make or break situation. It goes back to our evolutionary wiring.
Like our inner cave person.
Exactly. Our brains are constantly scanning for threats, but also for potential friends and allies. Those first few minutes are crucial for our brain to decide. Safe or not safe? Friend or foe? Worth investing in getting to know better, or should I steer clear?
So it's like deciding if we should offer them some food or make a run for it, but how can we make sure we're sending the right signals in those first few minutes? What can we actually do?
Well, a lot of it comes down to what's called the 7-38-55 rule.
Okay, is this some kind of secret code I need to crack?
No, not at all. It's a breakdown of how we communicate. 7% of what we communicate comes from the actual words we say.
Okay, that's pretty small.
38% from our tone of voice.
Getting bigger.
And a whopping 55% from our body language.
55%. So it's not just what you say, but how you say it.
Precisely.
It seems like those nonverbal cues are speaking volumes, maybe even before we say a single word.
Think about it. A genuine smile, warm eye contact, even just standing up straight with your shoulders back. These all send powerful signals about our confidence and trustworthiness before we've even had a chance to introduce ourselves.
That makes me think about all those times I've just instantly felt comfortable with someone and we barely even spoke and I just felt at ease.
Exactly. And I'm sure you've also experienced the flip side, meeting someone who said all the right things, but you just got this feeling.
Oh, absolutely. Their words are saying one thing, but their body is saying something totally different. Like when someone says, "Nice to meet you," but they won't make eye contact.
Exactly. So by becoming more aware of our own nonverbal signals, we can make sure we're projecting warmth and approachability, even if we're feeling a little nervous inside. It's about making sure our insides match our outsides.
So it's not about being fake, it's about being intentional.
Exactly. Especially in those first encounters.
Because those judgments are being formed so fast.
So quickly. We want to put our best foot forward, authentically.
All right, so we've talked about those critical first impressions, the power of nonverbal communication. Now, how do we keep those connections strong, build those really meaningful bonds? What happens after that first encounter?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about humor.
Humor in relationships. Now, there's something I think we can all relate to. I've always felt like sharing a laugh can really bring people closer, but is there actual science behind that?
Absolutely. There's a reason why people always say laughter is the best medicine.
It does make you feel good.
Not only does it lighten the mood, but it actually releases endorphins.
Those feel-good brain chemicals.
Exactly, and those have mood-boosting and stress-reducing effects.
So it's not just about having a good chuckle, it's actually good for us. And I'm guessing this shared laughter, this humor, probably plays a big role in our relationships too, right?
Absolutely. Studies have actually found that couples who laugh together tend to report being happier in their relationships overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about finding that shared sense of humor. Almost like a language that only the two of you understand.
I like that.
And it doesn't have to be about telling jokes or anything. It's really just about finding those moments in everyday life. The little things that are funny.
You're so right. It's not about being a comedian or anything. It's more about being open to seeing the humor in everyday situations together.
That's right.
Those little moments of laughter, even if it's over something kind of silly, it just brings you closer,
And you know what else? Humor can really help when you need to have those tougher conversations.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that come up in any relationship.
You can't avoid them forever.
Right. But if you can inject a little bit of humor, it can really help to kind of diffuse the tension and keep things from getting out of hand.
It's like humor gives us a little bit of breathing room
Exactly.
to step back and not take things so seriously.
Exactly, but obviously you've got to be careful, right?
Of course, you can't just make light of every situation.
Timing is everything. A poorly timed joke that can make things worse.
So read the room.
Exactly.
Don't try to use humor to avoid a serious conversation. It's more about using it to approach it in a healthy way.
Exactly.
Okay, so for those of us who weren't exactly born comedians, any tips for incorporating more humor, more laughter into our relationships?
Well, you don't need to start memorizing jokes or anything.
Okay, good.
Just try to be open to those opportunities for humor, those chances to be playful that come up
So
naturally.
if you think of something funny, say it.
Exactly. Or say you hear a funny story, share it. Or reminisce about a funny memory you both share.
Even just watching a comedy special together, that's always fun.
Exactly. Create a space where you can laugh together.
I love that. Create a space for laughter.
And you know what that makes me think of?
What's that?
Shared experiences.
Shared experiences, yeah. Those are so important.
We really are.
You know, I remember this time, my partner and I, we tried one of those escape rooms. Talk about teamwork. We were like racing against the clock, trying to solve all the puzzles, laughing at how ridiculous we must looked.
I bet.
And somehow we actually escaped with just seconds to spare.
No way. That's amazing.
It's a memory we still laugh about today.
That's the best, right?
It is.
Those shared adventures, they give you these lasting memories that just bond you together.
Totally.
But it's not just about the memories themselves.
What else is there?
When we experience new things, especially with someone we care about, our brains release dopamine.
Oh,
That's a neurotransmitter that's linked to pleasure and reward.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Like this little boost of happiness.
So you're saying that getting out of our routines, trying new things, it can actually strengthen our relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be something as, elaborate or as expensive as an escape room.
Okay, good to know.
It's really about that novelty, that shared experience. Like exploring a new part of town that neither of you have been to before, or taking a cooking class together.
Oh, we've been wanting to do that, actually.
Or even just like volunteering for a cause you both care about. Something like that can create these shared moments of discovery that really can bring you closer.
It's about those memories you make together, even if it's something small.
Exactly.
Wow, we've covered so much in this deep dive, from those first impressions to nonverbal cues, humor, adventures, but it feels like there's something else, something really important when it comes to building these really strong connections, you know? What about that deeper level, that emotional intimacy? How do we build that?
That's a great point. Emotional intimacy, that's really the core of any strong relationship, isn't it?
It is.
It's about creating that safe space where you feel seen and heard and understood.
That makes sense.
And, it might sound counterintuitive, but it often starts with us being willing to be vulnerable ourselves.
Letting our guard down, letting people see our true selves.
Exactly.
That can be scary.
It can be. It takes courage. But the rewards are incredible. And remember, it doesn't require these grand gestures. It's those small, everyday things that build that trust over time.
Like those little check-ins throughout the day.
Exactly. Or expressing gratitude, even for the little things.
Making time for each other, even when things are crazy busy, it all adds up.
It really does. Making your loved ones feel valued, appreciated, it's huge.
Absolutely.
And you can even think about creating little rituals together.
A lot.
Like a morning coffee routine.
Ah, I love that.
Or a weekly date night. Even just setting aside a few minutes at the end of each day to connect, really listen to each other without distractions.
It's like you're building this foundation brick by brick with every interaction.
Love that analogy. So true. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the psychology of relationships, is there one thing you'd want our listeners to take away from this conversation? What's the most important thing?
That's a good question.
I mean, we've talked about so much today.
We have.
But I think if I had to pick just one thing, it would be this. Be present. Whether it's that first meeting, a shared laugh, a heart-to-heart conversation, just being fully present, truly engaged in those moments with the people you care about, that's what makes all the difference.
I love that. Be present. That's such a good reminder. It's about being intentional with our time, our words, our actions, everything. And it does take effort, but building those strong, healthy relationships, it's so worth it.
It really is.
So to everyone listening, what will you focus on? What's one small change you can make today to create deeper, more meaningful connections in your own life? We would love to hear your stories. That's it for us this time. Thanks for listening.